First is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Live from New York, it's the show that's on the verge of predicting a Nuggets sweep over the Lakers. Not quite yet, but maybe. It's the second hour.
Stayed up later. Grinded the tape.
Today, why did the Eagles flirt with Bill Belichick? Hubs called it a snub. Look at Sirianni. He's like, oh no, my job's on the line. What the heck? Meanwhile, does playoff Jimmy have the Sixers on upset alert tonight? Strong maybe. But right now, well, it's time for the best segment in all sports. Last night, in a Twitter Spaces group, a select group of experts, analysts, and people who subscribe to the appeal to authority fallacy.
Dropped that right on their heads at 1:30 in the morning. They weren't ready, was.
Nobody was. Fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all of sports media. Without further ado, it's time for Nick's Tears.
Thank you so much, Wilds. Busy night. I had to be an early committee meeting, then back-to-back basketball games, then this, then I'm grinding Lakers Nuggets to film. Yeah. I'm running on fumes. But playoff edition of Tears, let's go.
See it.
Limping to the finish line. Oh, first off the Tears, pardon me. See, I'm out of it. Eliminated, see, the new one is the Warriors. And then, of course, soon to be eliminated, sorry, but Hawks, Bulls. One will be tonight, the other will be on Friday. Now, bottom of the Tears, limping to the finish. Sacktown, that's one of the best. It was said on the broadcast, and I agree with him. I think it's the best win for that franchise since C. Webb's heyday. I really do. Because of what it meant to eliminate the Warriors. They don't have a lot of great moments other than that in last year's Warriors
Have they won a series since?
No. Yeah, and last year's Warriors series, they won, obviously, you could say Game 6 in Golden State, but I think it was. But they missed Malik Monk. I think they can win on Friday, but then OKC's going to wax them. And obviously the Pelicans, Ingram's not right, Zion now out, so limp to the finish line. Got to win a round. So this one's tricky. So the Knicks, to their credit, fought for the 2 seed. But as I think wise people say, be careful what you wish for. It might not work out. The Pacers get their arch rival, still fighting over the basketball, injured Milwaukee Bucks. And then the Cavs threw a game because they wanted Orlando. So the Cavs better win, and Orlando better be angry that they did it, so they got them. So I don't know if any of these teams, except for Cavs or Orlando, are going to win a round, but you got to feel like you've got to. Bad matchup, bad luck. So the bad matchup for Milwaukee is the Pacers, particularly without Giannis, but they have not been able to guard them all year. For the Clippers, I understand they won the previous 2 series against Luka, but Luka was phenomenal at age 20 and 21 in those series. Now he has Kyrie alongside. The bad luck is obvious. The best player on both of these teams, we don't know when he's going to be available. The Giannis's injury, at least there's some reporting on. Kawhi's injury, the only reporting has come from across the table and across the country.
And it wasn't good.
So bad matchup, bad luck. Can't be dismissed. So this is Minnesota and Miami. I would like to see, and I believe Anthony Edwards is going to be a playoff performer. That there will be a playoff Edwards, similar to playoff Jimmy, where his game goes up a level. He strikes me as that type of player. And you can't dismiss what the Timberwolves did this regular season, alive for the 1 seed going into the final 2 games of the year despite Karl-Anthony Towns going down. And you can't dismiss what the Miami Heat have done over the last 5 years. So while I'm not a full-blown believer in either one of these teams this season, you cannot dismiss them. Wildly disrespected. I have heard this team called, as of yesterday, quote, the worst 1 seed in NBA history.
Wow.
We have heard multiple people advocate that teams should get in a do-or-die game just to have the pleasure of facing them.
Tough takes. Tough takes.
Nobody argued on this show that of all the teams that can beat Denver, well, what about the 1 team that would have home court and beat them 3 out of 4? We all picked different teams. And shit, when Brew and I were debating MVP, it was a Luka Jokic conversation. We left out Shea. So I feel for your OKC. It does feel like you've been disrespected. You have a legitimate chip on your shoulder. Next, quietly lurking. So Phoenix and Philly. Phoenix loves this matchup. They went from, oh my God, the toughest 10-game stretch to end the season ever. They got through it, avoided the play-in, and they are thrilled that they have Minnesota in round one. Philly, on the other hand, they're 31-8 with Embiid, a 63.5 win pace. Embiid hasn't looked right, but is still averaging 30 a night. Maxey getting healthier. There is a path for both of these teams to show up, not just in round two, but potentially in the conference finals, potentially in the NBA finals. Be honest. You can see it too. Luka and LeBron, AD and Kyrie. That's 3 champions, LeBron and 2 guys who won a championship alongside him. And Luka, who LeBron a couple years ago called his favorite young player, the guy he tried to beat, signed to his sneaker line, but Jordan stole him from him. And there is an element of poetry if that ends up being our Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, indeed,
and I will say this. While I don't think that side of the table has any faith of the Lakers getting out of round one, I think that side of the table, particularly that little quadrant of the table, is terrified about what the Mavs can do against the Clippers and then also against the Thunder potentially. Sorry, we're disrespecting them again in round two. Next, Wemby's first legacy moment. Did he alter the path for the defending champs in a way that Jokic's not legacy takes a hit, but goes down a different path? Were those 17 straight points that prevented the Nuggets from being the 1 seed in Game 81, and now the Nuggets have probably the toughest round one matchup they could have. Then in round two, if they get through, who would they have? Minnesota, who played them tough last year, or Phoenix, who played them tough in the regular season this year, beat them twice after the All-Star break and in the playoffs last year, only to have the opportunity to get to a Western Conference Finals potentially exhausted. So did Wemby already have his long, giant fingerprints on who hoists the Larry O'Brien? And last but not least, everything breaking right. If you're Boston, Philly's MVP candidate is limping. Milwaukee's MVP candidate is out. Golden State, who's beaten you before and maybe has your number mentally a bit. They didn't even make the tournament. Denver's path is so much harder than yours. You are a minus 200 favorite to make the finals. Everything is broken right for the Boston Celtics. We'll see if tonight continues with the 7-8 game. That, Chris Broussard, are the committee's playoff teams.
Not bad. Look, I've never been known as a Knicks fan.
Me?
Me.
No.
I've never been known as a Knicks fan.
Never mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Knicks fan or a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
But when I see blatant disrespect, I gotta speak up. We gotta give the Knicks a little respect. All right? And I do think this is the year that Heat culture folds, plummets. All right? So I'm switching the Knicks and the Heat.
That's fair.
All right? The Knicks, we all know what Jalen Brunson has done. You would even have him on your MVP ballot.
Yes.
And he's got a little, I'm not going to call him Jimmy Buckets, right? But he's been a playoff performer.
No
like,
doubt.
I don't see him folding at all.
I don't either.
And Julius Randle, yeah, okay, he's out, but he has not been good in the playoffs.
That's true.
Nick, with OG Anunoby, I don't know why. All right, I know he's a very nice defender and all that. How in the world he has had such an impact is beyond me, but he has. They are 20-3 when OG Anunoby plays. And look at the list of victims. Minnesota, Denver, Miami, Sacramento, Milwaukee, Boston. I mean, when OG's there, they ball out. All right? They're one of only 4 teams. Thank you, Ramsey, our resident Knicks fan, for this one. One of only 4 teams in the top 10 in offensive and defensive rating. The other 3 pretty good. Denver, OKC, and Boston. And the East, as you said, Philly, I mean, I hate to say it because, gosh, we hope it doesn't happen. Joel Embiid's a bump away from being either out or 60% of himself. I mean, and in Milwaukee, we know that's a mess. So I got to give the Knicks a little respect and move them up.
You make a great point, and I don't want to anger Ramsey, one of my favorite teammates on the show. But I have a quick question for you. If we're here tomorrow and Philly is 1 tonight. And we do our picks for Knicks Sixers. Who you got?
Well, look, I'm going by the tier. I might have Philly,
Okay,
but you got Lakers over Denver, and you got Denver here, so
I get
it's
that.
allowed.
It is allowed. I'm just saying.
Think about it tonight. But.
That's the reason I have the Knicks where they are is because I do not think they're going to be expected by the media at large to beat Philly. And I think as the 2 seed,
I might go Philly. I might shock you. But
okay. All right, we'll see. Go ahead, Loves.
I'm going to move the Wolves up over the Suns, or maybe flop the Wolves in the Sun. Now, I know what you're saying. Wilds, the Suns beat the Wolves 3 times this year. 3-0 against.
Use that as a piece of evidence as to why a team's
going to win. I'm just saying.
Team.
Even though Denver's beaten the Lakers 8 times in a row, I have to sit here and listen to why everything could be different if everything that did happen didn't happen. So I'll do that. Game 1 this year, what happened? The Suns shot 60% from the field. KD had 31 points on 15 shots. Is that going to happen again? Maybe not. Game 2, they win. Guess how many points the Wolves scored? 87. That's not
remember that game
again. Game 3 was the other day. Beal played one of the best games we've seen him play in years. Goes 6 for 6 from 3. And also, Anthony Edwards saw something he didn't like about the refs that it's going to change come playoff time. Take a listen.
I mean, those games over with, so it's a whole different game now. The refs can't call those fouls that they call them, so it's going to be a lot tougher.
Yeah, it's the refs' fault. So there you go. Anthony Edwards is going to play better because the refs aren't going to. Playoff refs don't call anything. That was holding his game back.
Well, I don't know how much that's going to help one team versus the other, but your original points, which were a few aberrant things happened, which doesn't undercut that the rightful team won those games, but you don't know if it necessarily is predictive to who's going to win the next games. Well, you know what?
If it was
I
8,
like that analysis.
It was 3, but if it was 8 in a row, I'd have a hard time.
Okay, all right, I got it.
And then in 2021, this happened.
No, you brought up 2021.
I brought up 2020 last time.
Yeah, exactly. Not me, my friend. I think that's going to be a great series.
7 games.
I think that's a 7-game series.
That's an awesome series.
I think that is a great series.
Wait till you see Game 7, Devin Booker.
Oh, I've never seen him. It's crazy.
Eagles flirting with Bill Belichick.